Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience and for being here with us today. We have a really exciting talk that I've been anxiously waiting to hear for a few weeks now, so I'm very excited for today. Before we get started, just some housekeeping really quickly. As you can see on this slide that I'm currently sharing, this presentation is available both in English and Spanish. It is being translated live at this moment. On the very bottom of your Zoom, you will see a thing that says interpretation. If you click on it, you can select either English or Spanish for the language that you would prefer. We also ask that you remain muted if you're not the speaker. And if you have any questions, please wait until the end of the presentation. We will have a question and answer session. At that time, you can either put your questions into the chat or you can use the hand raising function on Zoom. With that, today our presentation is by Rudy Aguilar. He is from the Belize Botanical Garden in Belize, of course. So Rudy has actually been with the garden for 17 years. He first started in the nursery, and then, he has been there for 20 years and has had many roles, and he is now the manager at Belize Botanical Garden. His wide-ranging responsibilities include the coordination of collection trips, overseeing the horticulture training program, and he even helps host a local TV show, which I need to hear more about this because that sounds so exciting and such an incredible platform. Other notable projects that he has led include the Savannah Conservation Project, Grow Native Belize, and the impactful horticulture training program, which has employed over 100 Belizeans, people in Belize. That is a hard word to say, which is so exciting. That is a lot of people and such an impactful project. Short term, however, his goals include assisting farmers and schools in establishing agroforestry setups for food self-sufficiency and organic farming education. Long term, he aims to collaborate with the government on sustainable timber extraction, train forest rangers in tree propagation, and contribute to reforestation along the Macau River. So keep an eye on Rudy. He's been doing this for 20 years. He has a lot of years to go, and it's really exciting to think about the impact that he will be making in Belize. Now, a little bit on the presentation today. So the presentation is called Harvesting Sustainability, Cultivating Belizean Edible Native Plants for Conservation and Nourishment, which explores the utilization of Belize's native plant species in backyard gardens, both conserving these species while also helping families supply their own food, which is so important. It's important because it supports not just conservation and biodiversity, but also cultural heritage, sustainability, and community well-being. Plus, it aligns with the Caribbean strategy for plant conservation. If you've taken a look at that, or if you haven't yet, I urge you to look at Target 14, which specifically focuses on developing models of benefit sharing to support local communities based on native plant diversity, to help eliminate poverty, enhance local economies, food security, healthcare, and the conservation of traditional knowledge. So Rudy and the Belize Botanic Garden are prime examples of how your garden or your institutions can utilize the knowledge you learned today to move forward with our strategy. So with that, I will open up the floor to Rudy to share his experience in harvesting sustainability.
Thank you for that introduction, Lena. Like Lena said, my name is Rudy. I've been here at Belize Botanic Gardens for 17 years or so. And I'm happy to do this presentation because it's something we have been working on for some time. Can you guys hear me? Well, all right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Pretty good. All right. I've been working with this for the past year. We got funding from the Stanley Smith Horticultural Trust Fund to start doing backyard gardens for families. COVID kind of pushed the families here to alternative money earning and growing their own food because of tourism. The tourism industry is pretty big here, and there was nobody traveling during COVID, so everybody had to find their way into making a living elsewhere, and plants and growing their own food was a big deal. So a lot of people ventured into that and asked us for help. So we, along with the help of Stanley Smith Horticulture Trust Fund, stepped in and started our Gardens to Go program, which that pushed into us having to step into setting up agroforestry for farmers around, which became a little bit bigger. Now we have the Gardens to Go program and agroforestry set up for farmers. So I thought this would be something to share with other botanic gardens and people who are interested in plants, because maybe this could be something or a project they could set up in their own country or area that could help communities that actually need it, right? I'm gonna talk a little bit about Belize and the garden, just to kind of introduce to everyone where we are and what kind of uh, uh, forest and what kind of people we have around Belize Botanic Gardens, or that come to Belize Botanic Gardens. I've never done a presentation like this before, so I wanted to see if I could share my screen. Let me see if I can get it to let me see. Okay. Share screen, correct. Can everybody see that? Yes, perfect. All right. I wanted to talk a little bit about like I said, a little bit about Belize and where we are. Belize is a Central American country with approximately 8,867 square miles. That would include the Keys. We are bordered by Guatemala, on the north by Mexico, and on the east by the Caribbean Sea. All right. Our language is English, the main language. We were a colony of England, and the main language is English, but there is a huge Spanish speaking area, or almost in about 40-50% of the country speaks Spanish, mostly Spanish. Since we are bordered with Guatemala and Mexico, we have that influence as well. So most people here are bilingual. The native people are the Quechua Mayas, or the Mayan people. We have a lot of them in the southern part of Belize. We have the Yucatecan Mayans as well, and the Mopan Mayans. So there is a huge mixture of cultures and language in Belize. We have the Mestizo group, which is a mix between Mayan and English. We have the Creole, which are the mix between African and English. We have the Maya people. We have the Garifuna people, which migrated to Belize a little bit after. And we have a huge amount of Mennonite communities as well. The Mennonite are German, Amish, some Amish Mennonites as well. All right. Well, the unemployment rate is at 9.69%, and that is something we try to help as well with this gardens to go and the agroforestry setup, is to help people create their own jobs and to kind of feed their own family off that as well. All right. Our main plant industries are sugarcane, banana, and citrus, and those are monocrops. Some of them have done impacted negatively to our forests. There's a lot of clearing going on, especially in the northern part of Belize. So we will try to work with these farmers to help with some of these chemical leaching into the waters and monocropping, and the agroforestry is something geared towards that, is to kind of show farmers that it can be done, and it's not just something that you see on presentation in other countries, or that you see on the internet. It's something that is real, and you can set it up here fairly easy, and you can have almost a forest of edible plants, right? So that is what Belize is about. On the map, there is where Belize is. You can see a little bit south of Mexico, east of Guatemala, and on the south as well, you find Guatemala and the Caribbean Sea, right? These, all right. Now, Belize Botanic Gardens is on the west of Belize in the Cayo district, all right, in the San Ignacio area. We are close reaching the that's still considered within Ignacio town, all right? We are right near the Macal River, which is one of our local rivers that we want to work with. Like I mentioned, I want to work with the reforestation of it, especially on the banks, to prevent erosion. So we sit right on the river bank as well. A bit about 4 miles off the main road from San Ignacio into the Benque Viejo village, Benque Viejo town, sorry. The garden is 45 acres. We have 45 acres where the garden sits, but we also have about 30 acres of forest across the road and 25 acres a little bit down from the garden as well that we manage, and those are kept forested. We have our apiary in one of those areas, and the other is just fully forested, and we manage the going patrol so that control fires and all that in those areas. All right. Belize Botanic Garden has a good collection, a good representation of Belizean orchids. Belize has over 312 native orchids, and the garden has a little over 120 of those 312. All right. We have a huge collection, over 110 native and non-native palms. So we have a good collection of palms as well. We have a good collection of cycads. We have 8 native cycads, mostly in the Zamia genus, and we have those represented in the garden. We have a vast collection of fruit trees, and that is how basically the garden started. About was Judy and Ken Duploy, started a kind of plantation of fruit trees and then developed into what the garden is now. We have also some timber trees, especially our very own national tree, the mahogany. We have a good representation of those trees here. And we have a lot of ornamentals as well, so to attract our locals, because our locals, if we show them native plants, they would say, nah, I have that in the backyard. But if we show them big, pretty flowers, then they come. And when we come, we teach them about our native plants here. So we attract our local people with pretty flowers and get them in and teach them about conservation of our native plants. So if the Botanic Garden webpage or is there as well, www.belizebotanic.com. .org, you know, to learn a little bit more about tours we offer and all that. You can visit the page. All right, so here in the blue, or the blue dot, you can see in the Cayo area. So Belize has 6 districts: Corozal and Rock, Belize City, Cayo, Stan Creek, and Toledo. So in the Cayo area, where you see that blue dot, or the blue cross, that is where Belize Botanic Garden is located. Near the Guatemalan border. So this is a picture, sorry, of what Belize Botanic Garden was like in the year 93 or so. This was a picture taken from the drive of the garden. Okay. Let's see. Does everybody see that picture? Yeah. All right. Well, that is what Belize Botanic Garden used to look like in 93. As you can see, it was a cattle pasture. And the area where the brown cloud area is, that is our orchard right now. And we have a picture that we took last week of the garden at that same angle, and you will see the difference of what it is like today. So most of what was growing in the garden were some Atalaya cocoon palms that we're gonna cover on the presentation as well. Yeah, most of it was just grass and some local shrubs and some citrus, small citrus in the right hand corner of it. All right. This was a little bit later, after the Deploy family got it and was ready to start the plantation. You could see it already starting to some grasses already started to grow. All right. This is the garden now. All right, from that same angle. You can see there's no way to see the hotel area, or the area in the back on the base of that mountain was actually Duploy's Jungle Lodge at the time. Now it's called Sweet Songs, but yeah, that is the same angle right there, and it's taken from 25 feet tower lookout that we have in the garden, aiming in the same direction of where the that plowed or barren area used to be. Show you another side of it. That's our fire tower again, looking a little bit more to the river, or the Macal River side of it. Kind of shows of how massive those Guanacaste trees are in that area. Some legumes, the bamboo, all of that have taken over the canopy of the gardens and kind of make it look super dense and almost a jungle. All right, that brown spot we saw earlier, the plowed area, this tree sits right on it. All right, this is a Guanacaste. And a Guanacaste is national tree of Costa Rica, but it's native to Belize. It is fairly smart compared to what Guanacastes usually grow to, or the height they usually grow to. This one is approximately 90 feet up and about 80 to 90 feet wide as well. All right, the base is about 6 to 8 feet, so fairly small yet. It can get much larger than that. It's approximately 25 years old, so still has some more to grow. All right, so that area that was plowed, this is how it looks now. All right, this is our bamboo area, or you know, I thought the sun rays coming through in the morning look pretty peaceful, and that is what most of the mornings look like here in the Belize Botanic Garden. If it's not raining, you're gonna get something like that. And this is our bamboo forest. We have a little drive-through, and we have drumming sessions there as well. Very peaceful, all right? Unless a strong wind comes and then you hear like there's 100 sticks dropping on your head, but doesn't happen often. Let's see. All right, these are some native orchids that we have. We have some Brassavola. Here to my left, Brassavola in the middle. To my left, we have our Prostechia crocata, which is our national flower, and the flower that you see on our logo. All right, so these are some native orchids that we have. Like I said earlier, Belize has over 312 native orchids, making Orchidaceae the second largest plant family behind Fabaceae, which are legumes. All right, I kind of talked a little bit about our projects that we are working on. Gardens to Go project, and the Gardens to Go was designed to install backyard gardens for people in the Socots area, Cala Creek, St. Ignacio, Bully Tree Falls, Santa Elena. So basically communities around the garden. We wanted to help them grow their own food organically, and that is important to point out, because we don't use any chemicals at all, and that is how we teach. We teach organic plant growing only. All right. And our other project that we're working on now, like I mentioned earlier, is the agroforestry setup, where we are working with 12 farmers to set up an agroforestry plot within 1 to 2 acre of size. We're actually working as well with some educational institutions like the Galen University and the Mopan Technical High School, and the Friends for Conservation and Development, which is based in Vaca Forest Reserve area. We are setting up agroforestry plots for them as well, so that they can use that as a teaching areas. So students can come and learn a little bit about agroforestry set up organically and expand that into the entire country. This is our Gardens to Go, how it starts off by basically just one bed, and then we end up to something like this in 1 year. So most of the plants that are used are annuals, but there are also plants that are very easy to grow. The carrot that you showed on the picture in the presentation and on the introduction of the presentation was actually a carrot that one of our students have never grown before. And he was all excited that the plants were up, and he pulled it just to see if there's actually a carrot under there. And yes, it was. Unfortunately, he pulled it too early, right? But yeah, that kind of excitement you get when it's your first time growing these vegetables or these plants, and then you are successful, and you're eager to pull them out and eat them, all right? Because we were teamed up with Stanley Smith Horticultural Trust Fund, we had to do something a little bit more ornamental as well as edible, so we incorporated some ornamentals in the mix to attract pollinators as well, right? This is the agroforestry area. Well, this is going to be the agroforestry area for farmers, for Friends for Conservation Development in the Vaca Forest Reserve area. So our idea is to turn this into something like that. All right. So that is what our aim is, to take something like this. This was done because of this slash and burn farming practice that is done here in Belize. Farmers would cut forests, burn it, and then plant. The following year, they would cut another plot, burn it, and then plant. And then fires can get out of control, especially in areas that are densely forested. And then you end up with situations like this, where an entire area is burnt without any planning or reforestation back. All right, a lot of habitat of animals, animal habitat, birds all have issues with when forest fires happen. But our idea is to bring it back to something like this, where people can harvest and get food out of it as well. All right. Now I want to talk about 10 native Belizean edible plants. Now, there are tons more, and you might know other ways of preparing these plants. But yeah, I've been eating some of these plants myself. So I got some recipes from my mom, and I decided to want to share it with you guys. All right. One of them, the first one, is Bixia oriana. Bixia oriana is achote, and achote or anato is popular here for the food coloring. It's locally used to give the stew chicken here, very popular in Belize. The Belizean dish is rice and beans, stew chicken, and salad with a little bit of plantain, a fried plantain on the side. So the stew chicken on it is always that reddish color. All right, and Bixia oriana or achote is the one that gives it that reddish color. It doesn't have much of a flavor, kind of like earthy, but it does create that little bit, making it feel or taste like Belizean food. All right, so achote has that. It's a small tree, about 25 feet high. And it spreads fairly small, again at about 15 feet wide. So a very small area to grow this tree. You can actually keep it pruned. You can prune it after each year of fruiting and keep it quite small. All right. It gives some like pinkish color flowers. So the flowers as well are quite beautiful. And the young pods, or the achote, the anato, is taken from the old dried pods. You're gonna wet the seeds, and the dye or the coloring is released. But the young pods are also used for body painting. And this is one of the activities we do with schools when they come here to the garden, is that we go whenever the achote is in fruit. We would go and open the pods and rub your fingers in there, and it releases this orange reddish color dye. And you can use it as a natural lipstick, or body painting. You want to color, and that is how the Mayas used to. That is one of the dyes the Maya used to use back in the days as well for their rituals. All right, so Bixia oriana has been used for a couple of years, not only for eating, but also for body painting or natural lipstick. All right. These are some of the projects. These are some of the activities we do with kids, just to show them how fun native plants can be. All right. This is an example of a pod of a dry pod of the Bixia oriana, and this is our local dish, stew chicken. All right. If you notice the chicken color, that reddish color, that is what Bixia oriana or achote would give it, that reddish color. Now they sell the Bixia oriana at the shops here, the local stores. You can find it as recado. So if you go to the store and you ask for recado, you are basically getting the achote dye mixed with masa, which is ground boiled corn. All right, so you take your corn, you grind it, and you mix the dye up with the dye of the achote up with this corn, and you get recado, and that is what you mix into your chicken. So it is a little bit of the process, but if you have the pods, if you have the achote, you can simply just add water and extract and the fresh coloring, the fresh achote, the fresh anato from the seeds, instead of going to the shop buying the recado that has been stored for quite some time. All right, so it's easier to grow your plant. It doesn't take a lot of space, and you get the best flavor out of it. Another one that is another tree, fairly small as well, in the Myrtaceae plant family, is the Pimenta dorica, or here people would call it pimienta gorda in Spanish, or allspice. All right, so allspice, pimento, those are some words, those are some names that we refer to Pimenta dorica as. Again, native to Belize. It loves the limestone hills. So this area where the garden is located has a lot of allspice growing around. We have a family of howler monkeys right now, right in the background. of where I'm having my presentation. I hope they don't start howling, but they are right in the background, and they're the ones who would feed on some of these leaves and fruits as well. All right. So the wildlife, the animals, birds love it. So it's not only for us, but for the animals around as well. The pimenta dorsata grows approximately 30 feet tall, so fairly small compared to other trees around in the area. It is said to have the flavoring of cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves, and hence the name allspice. A lot of the times, Belizeans get confused with allspice because another common name for it is pimienta gorda, which in English it translates back to black pepper, right? And pimienta, because of the scientific name pimenta, sounds almost like the word pimienta, which, like I said earlier, it translates back to black pepper. So a lot of people confuse grounded allspice with black pepper. It's not the case. It's completely two completely different plants. And the black pepper is in the piper family, and it's not native to Belize, whereas pimenta doica mercasi family is. All right. Here we use the seeds, the spice seeds, as we call it here. We use them in the local dish called escabeche, which is an onion soup, very popular. Yesterday, actually, I had a chance to enjoy a plate of escabeche in Denny's kitchen in the Secot's area. We're pretty popular here, and the allspice seeds are one of the main ingredients for the onion soup. All right. The tea as well. We serve the tea a lot here. It's a relaxing tea. It's a tea that you want to drink right before bed because it does make you very sleepy. And it also has like a numbing effect on your tongue. And so sometimes I forget to tell people about that, and the tongue start to tinkle a little bit, and they get a little bit worried if it's gonna have any effect on them. But other than making you sleepy and just relaxing your body, pimenta tea is super delicious. We normally take it with a little bit of honey, a little bit of milk, and that's it. We can combine it with other plants as well, like the lemongrass. We use that combination of teas as well. But pimenta, definitely one of our favorite teas to have. This on the left, you see the seeds, the pimenta seeds. There are about I would say a quarter of an inch in diameter. And on the right, you can see a dish of escabeche and the onion soup. And right in the center, you see that little black dot. Those are the allspice seeds. All right. So quite common to see escabeche served with a little bit of rice or corn tortillas. And corn tortillas is the one you can see right on the side of the plate there. You can see some factory-made corn tortillas, or even better, handmade corn tortillas. You can't beat that one. All right, another plant that we have quite common around is the Amaranthus viridis, which is callaloo. And the Caribbean, I know callaloo is quite popular in Jamaica. Callaloo dishes, you can find all sort of way to prepare callaloo. Here you find them around the river or the creeks, around sandy areas where sediment have settled there, a little bit of loamy soil. In open areas where full sun, you get callaloo sprouting. It is an annual, so after a year, you'll see it starting to die back, set off seeds, and it comes back again quite strong, and it can spread fairly easy without you have to doing much work or very, very minimum work. As long as you have a good supply of water, it does like a lot of water, like all amaranths. And I know if you look on the internet, you'll find different types of amaranths, different colors are used a lot in landscapes. But viridis, Amaranthus viridis, here is not that colorful when it comes to the foliage. It's green. The flower isn't that attractive either, but it does attract butterflies and bees. And the leaves are the ones that you want to pick, you want to wash and boil, and then use as a substitute of spinach. So it has loads of potassium, it's loaded with iron, magnesium, and all the good vitamins as well. So people here usually stir fry it with a little bit of coconut oil, some tomatoes, green bell peppers, onions, and egg as well. Mix in there, and that is how people would have kalaloo, or they would do it as a soup. Just simply boil it, season it with a little bit of salt and pepper, black pepper, and they would take it as a soup like that. All right. Here is kalaloo. To the right, you can see the plant. Sometimes when farmers have loads of kalaloo in their area, they would take it to the market. It's better served fresh. It's better eaten fresh. As you pick it, you want to prepare it and eat it. You want to store it for a fairly long time. All right. So to the left hand side, you can see a dish prepared for that. That's kalaloo, and that's how you call the plant. That's how you call the dish. There's no other way around it. Kalaloo, both plant and dish. Right. I want to speed it up a little bit more because I know the time is creeping up on us. Kamadura tepeholote. Kamadura is one of the 11 palm species in the Kamadura genus that are native to Belize. All right. There are other 3 that are quite important as well, which is Ernesta augusti, elegans, and oblongata. These 3 are used in the floral arrangement industry and are cultivated legally from our forests. Both we have Guatemalan farmers and Belizean farmers coming into reserve areas in Belize and extracting these leaves. All right. So Kamadura tepeholote is one part of those. Is one of those 11 Kamadura palms that are native to Belize. Again, you can also use the heart, or you can also use the heart or palm of this plant, but it's quite small, so not a lot of people want to get it or eat it. The leaflets of this plum is also used in the floral arrangement industry. All right. So the immature flowers are picked, the male flower deep fried in egg butter. All right. So super delicious. You can add a little bit of tomato, a little bit of onion and bell pepper to it. But just like that, with the egg butter, deep fried and corn tortillas, super delicious. And that's how most people would prepare it. It's very rich in calcium, vitamin C, potassium, and proteins. So it's very good. It's only a time of the year that you can find these flowers. April, May, June, around that, the main dry season. That's when you get the flowers out, and people are collecting the flowers as well. All right. Just yesterday, we visited a farmer who is starting a plantation of these Kamadura tepeholote palms, and because eventually he wants to prepare Mayan dishes to visitors visiting his site. So that's a good way to conserve. If you can see what a pakaya or inflorescence of the Kamadura and served. You can see on the bottom it has corn tortillas with corn tortillas and inflorescence that open. Usually pakaya is a little bit bitter, so you don't want to wait until the pakaya is open, like the one on the right, before you pick it and eat it. You want to eat it when it's still closed. All right. So the older the pakaya flower is, the more bitter it is when you eat. So you want to take the plump young ones, not too young either. You want it just right. All right. So in our market here in San Ignacio, time of the year, they would sell it in little bundles of 10 or 15 pakaya, and those will go for 5 Belize per bundle. All right. Again, this is a clumpy palm, so it's something, sometimes one palm stock can give off two flowers. So sometimes in the clump there's about 8 to 10 stalks. So you can get a lot of flower from one plant, but we encourage people to remove only 3 to keep the plant also seeding, so you can propagate the seeds as well. Another plant that is quite popular here is Atalea cajon, or corozo, as we call it in Spanish. It is one of the 42 native palms of Belize. It grows well in this type of forest or riparian forest, or where you have some sort of water. In the valleys of those mountains, you get it growing quite well. It is one of our tallest native palm, not the tallest, but one of them. It can get easily 80 feet up in the air with one frond or one leaf, just one leaf being from 20 to 35 feet in length, all right? Because of the size of the leaf, it is used for thatching as well, but not as, it doesn't last as long as the Sabal moratiformis palm, that is the one that is the most popular for thatching. But the leaves of the Atalea are actually pretty good as well for thatching. It is one of the palms that Belizeans get hard up edible. Don't encourage one solitary palm. So if you remove the heart, you kill the entire plant. So we encourage people to take heart of palm from Bacteria sepias, which is speech palm, and that is clumpy. So if you remove one heart from one of the stalks, you don't kill the entire plant. You have more stalks coming up. All right, unlike Atalea cajon, the entire plant dies if you remove the heart. All right. The seeds are shaped like egg, almost the same size as well. Cooking oil is extracted from the seeds. It is similar to coconut oil, but the Atalea cajon cooking oil has a distinct flavor. Some people don't really like it because it's quite strong, and you can smell it from a distance when you're cooking it. When people are cooking with Atalea cajon, it smells really, really good. But the person right in front of the stove cooking can be offended by the smell, because it can be a bit strong. It is a growing industry. Cocoon oil, it is a growing industry here in the Belize City area, at the Belize River Valley, including Flowers Bank area. It's quite popular now. They're starting to bottle and sell Atalea cajon oil. Like coconut oil, which is big in the southern part of Belize, Atalea cajon oil is starting to become pretty big in the east area of Belize. All right, here we have on the left cajon oil from the Flowers Bank area, and then on the right there is cajon palm, not fully mature yet, but not fully to its full growth potential, but already giving off some seeds. As you can see, one bunch there, about 300 or 400 seeds on it. All right, Atalea cajon was quite important in World War II because the nut itself was used as charcoal for the filters of gas masks. So that is a little fact here about fun fact about the Atalea cajon. All right, Eryngium foetidum. Eryngium foetidum is culantro, as we call it here in Belize, or serrated coriander. It grows almost everywhere here in the garden. We absolutely did do nothing to it. As long as you have areas where water you have water around, you'll get a lot of culantro around. All right. Culantro is used for seasoning and marinating or garnishing food, especially chicken and beans. Here, the red kidney beans, if it doesn't have culantro in it, Belizeans are disappointed. You need to put culantro in the beans. And it's the flavor is very similar to cilantro, but cilantro here, you make a nice bed, you sink to it, and it still grows quite not as good as culantro does. And with culantro, you throw the seeds in the back of the yard, and you get a little bit of water there, and the culantro comes up as a weed since it's native to Belize. All right, it's a little bit tougher to cook. You know, you need to cook it a little bit longer. If you eat it fresh, it'll be a little bit tougher than cilantro. But that's the only thing about it. All right. The leaves and the seeds of the culantro can be taken as tea for flu, so it is medicinal. But yeah, most popular you find it in the caldo, in the red kidney beans, like I said earlier, right? Caldo here is chicken soup. That's the Spanish and Mayan word for chicken soup is caldo, right? Here is a picture to the left of the serrated coriander or the culantro. To the right is a picture of the caldo, the local caldo. All right, you can see a slightly orange color again from the anato, from the first plant I presented on, and the green part there are the leaves of the culantro, sorry, and with a little bit of cassava, some potatoes, some chocho, and corn tortillas. All right, I couldn't do this presentation without Theobroma cacao, native to Belize, and it's one of the plants or one of the food that I think everybody knows, chocolate. And Theobroma cacao is the source of chocolate. And the Mayans used to use chocolate as currency, so important to them. All right. The flowers and fruits grow on the trunk of and the main branches of the Theobroma cacao. So you can the pods or the seed pods it produces are quite big. The seeds are dried and roasted, similar to coffee, and ground to make chocolate, or you can make a chocolate drink from it as well. All right. And the fruit itself, though, when it's ripe, you can actually eat the pulp around the seeds, and it's quite sweet. All right, it doesn't taste anything like chocolate, the fruit itself, and then the seeds or the bean, as you want to, as people would call it, those are the ones that are dried and then roasted and ground, and then you can taste the chocolate in it. But the fruit, the pulp around the seed itself, doesn't taste anything like chocolate. Actually, that's one of my favorite foods to have. And then the chocolate bits or the cacao bits are my second favorite. All right. But yes, the pulp is also fermented as an alcoholic beverage, and that is what the Mayas would use party with. All right. So Theobroma cacao, one of Belize's favorite, and it's grown mostly in the southern part of Belize because of the rainfall. But we have a few trees here in the garden doing quite well, especially the former house of the director and owner of the Botanic Garden, Judy DuBois. At her first house, we have some pretty big trees there doing quite well under mother cacao trees. So here we have some cacao pods or cacao fruits, and there are many cultivars and varieties of cacao, different colors and resistance as well. And then on the bottom of the right photo, you can see some chocolate, some cacao bits, nips as you call it, and also the roasted seeds. So if on the right, you'll see that one of cacao fruits are open, and you can see the white pulp I was talking about. All right, quite sweet when you eat it. All right, another one is Yucca gigantea, or as locals here call it, is a spineless yucca or flor de sote in Spanish. Quite common in Guatemala and Salvador as well. My mom here makes one of the best. I always brag about that. The petals of the flower, the yucca gives white flowers, beautiful flowers, and the petals of the flower are taken and then boiled, and a little bit of seasoning added to it according to your liking, bit of onion, and you can eat it that way as well. or you can add eggs to it and have it with eggs. If you pick the entire flower without picking out the petals of the flower and the stamens, stigma, and all the stuff, it will be slightly bitter. But if you just pick off the petals, just the petals, it's way better that way than just the entire flower itself. And like I said, there may be many people who prepare it differently, and that's fine. All right. The petals are boiled for about 20 minutes, and then you can prepare it with onions, tomatoes, eggs, or whatever you want to eat it with. All right. On the left is a dish, fleur de sauté. On the right would be the plant and the flower itself. Usually, in the months of June, July here, you get them in bloom. All right. And this plant would kind of clump from the base. It has one big fat base like yuccas always do, and then it have a lot of stems coming from there. And each stem would set one flower on the tip. All right. So you can get many flowers from one plant. Here we have Cotallara longirostrata. Chipiling, quite common in Belize, rich in iron, calcium, magnesium, also in protein. Chipiling tamales. If I don't mention chipiling tamales, then my mom's gonna kill me. She prepares some of the best, and it is used as a substitute of meat. So for people that don't eat meat, chipiling tamales is a must. You wanna boil the leaves, take the young leaves, boil it. Now
That's the right. You can do the face. Lena just wrote that.
all right. If you want to boil the leaves, it will you can season it afterwards. You can eat it as a soup. You can fry it with eggs. And that's how you eat chipiling. But in a tamale, you mix it. So tamale is made from corn. You boil the corn. You boil the masa. You wrap it in banana leaves, and you put it to boil again, all together, either with meat or without, if you like. And that is how you eat chipiling. Now chipiling is in the rattleweed plant family, crotallarias, and the crotallarias are popularly known to be toxic for cattle, or so they're not really liked in a lot of countries. But longilostrata is native to Belize, and the leaves here are super delicious. Or people have been passing on these dishes like this from generations to generations, and they're starting to kind of diminish. So what we want is to kind of bring it back already. So with this, we also will create a cooking book to prepare with our agroforestry setup and also our gardens to go. On the left here, we have chipili. We have it with a tomato sauce. And on the right, you can see a chipiling plant. Fairly easy to grow. It's a legume, so a nitrogen fixer. You can feed it to your chickens. You can feed it to your sheep, goats. You can feed it to your animals as well. All right. So if you don't eat all of it, and it's super easy. You stick the seed in the ground, it comes up. So for people that usually have trouble growing plants, this is one of the plants that you want to start off with. You definitely can't miss or can't fail with growing chipiling. And the last one is chaya. And Judy Dutoy, director of the gardens, one of her favorite plants is actually chaya. And again, there are many cultivars of chaya. There are some that are stingless. So most chayas would sting when you pick them from the plant, and that's why a lot of people don't like messing with it. But if you take the leaves, you boil it, and then you can drain the water, and you fry it with tomatoes, onions, bell peppers. You can even put bacon, whatever you like in it, and it's super delicious. It's one of the dishes I try to prepare at least once a month because it's super good. All right. The nutritions, it has very rich in calcium, protein, vitamin A, Again, very easy to grow. This plant, you actually take the cutting and if you throw it away, the plant will sprout and come back, so you can't fail. If you throw it in the shade, it comes up. If you throw it in the sun, it comes up. Even if you you can overwater, underwater, and the plant does really well. So again, for those who want to start growing plants, we picked some of these plants that are fairly easy, so to kind of encourage our students to go on and plant more, or try the a bit difficult ones. All right, so chaya again is one of the most common vegetables around, and it's a shrub. It goes about 8 feet tall. You can prune it quite low, and it just comes back with bigger leaves, and way more stems. So it does bush out. So one plant can feed a family of 4 easy. Right. Here to the right, we have a chaya picture of the plant, of the food, sorry, how chaya is prepared, or how it should look when it's finished. You can eat that with a little bit of corn tortilla or flour tortillas if you like. On the left, we have the plant itself. On the right, we have the food. Okay. Oh. All right. That's about it for plant presentation. I want to thank people who helped me with this. My mom, Lucia Aldana. I want to thank Dr. Stephen Bonner, who helped me with the plant identification and proper scientific names and all that. I had to double check with him, make sure everything was fine. Judy Duploy and Ken Duploy for starting this beautiful place 30 years ago, for not giving up on it. Thank you very much. Heather Duploy for taking charge of the garden right after Ken Duploy passed away. Thank you very much for not giving up and believing on this. And that's why I'm here today. Thanks to my staff that help me always, every day, in everything I do, and keep me going. So thank you guys very much. And thanks to Lena for having so much patience with me through all of this.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for that great presentation. I don't think I speak solely for myself. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I'm very excited for this cookbook to be put together. Actually, here there's a local university called Florida Gulf Coast University, and they have a food forest, and they have a lot of these plant species, especially the chaya, which they use as a windbreak at the food forest. So it'll be very exciting when that cookbook comes out. Let us know. I know that we're up on time, but if it's okay with everybody, if you'd like to stick around for a few minutes, if you have any questions, I'd just like to open up that opportunity for anyone who has any questions. I didn't see any in the chat, so please feel free to unmute and ask your question. There's one that just popped up in the chat. Okay. Oh, hold on. Every time I scroll to it, it like pops back.
He's asking if we could buy the Cahoon oil online. I'm not sure if you can purchase it online yet. I've seen it a few times in our local market, but I'm not sure if people are exporting it. I know the coconut oil, there's a huge company in the southern part of Belize, and it's starting to become as big as Marie Sharp's. But I don't know if we have any export going on with those foods. I won't think so though.
Also like to know from your backyard's garden, how many gardens have you helped, and how many families currently have gardens out in their backyards?
We did 16 people total. We were aiming for 15. We did 16 families, and instead of saying people, because it sounds like only single persons, they're families. So our champion or our most effective student was a 10-year-old, and he brought in his grandfather, his mother, his father, his sisters into helping him grow his garden, and he turned his entire house lot into a farm. His house lot of 77 feet by 120 or so. He had carrot, cabbage, lettuce, tomatoes on the bed we provided for him. But outside the bed, he also had okra, bananas, pumpkin, all over the place. So he kind of made it into a small little jungle, and he just kept going and going. And up to now, he still has his much bigger than we started off with. So we have invited him again for this year's Gardens to Go again to continue giving him a little bit of enthusiasm to continue working with plants, because here in Belize, the average age of a farmer is 60 years, and that's quite high. So we want to bring it down and get the children involved in farming.
Yes, he needs to start bringing his schoolmates and, get a whole generation of 10-year-olds.
We want to work with one of the schools in the near the gardens. There is a village that the entire school wants to start their own backyard garden to help their feeding program with the children that don't go take food to school. So what we want to do is start their backyard gardens, so to help feed kids like that, and that's what the garden wants to do with communities nearby. And we wish we had funding to fund many other schools like it. Unfortunately, due to funding, very difficult for us to get there, but we will do as much as we can.
That is amazing. I have so many more questions, but I want others to have an opportunity. Does anybody else have any questions for Rudy? If not, then I'll go ahead and end the presentation here, because I have your email, so I can bug you endlessly with my questions. I just want to make sure. Yes, we talked about the fermented alcohol, and then, will people be able to access the agroforestry cookbook?
I'm not sure at the moment. We have it for this agroforestry setup, and we want to do it so that the farmers who are participating can feel encouraged to grow certain plants, because they would know what to do with it. And we eventually we want to share it out with everybody. Yes, we don't want to keep it all for ourselves. We presently have a cookbook that was prepared by one of the Amish families in the Barton Creek area that covers some of these plants I talked about, dishes that are prepared as well, and not only that, but how to grow it. So we are selling that at the moment, and it's one that the person or the lady just started to sell the book, and we are the only ones who would sell it for her, since they are very strict with the gadgets and machinery. So they came to us and asked if we could sell their book. We have a health store shop in San Ignacio, and there we have the book for sale for them. So we wanted to do something similar, but with this agroforestry plants that we have, based it on that. And yes, we want to share it with everybody as soon as it becomes available. Yeah.
Wonderful. We did get another question from Matthew. He says, do you grow any tropical fruits in the agroforestry systems, such as tamarind, ananas, pineapple?
Oh, tons of it. We have pineapple. We actually have pineapple in our Gardens to Go pots or beds, actually. Raised beds are perfect here. Pineapple is grown. In order for you to farm pineapple, you clear steep forests or steep hills or steep mountains, and you plant only pineapple, or that's how the farmers do it. We try to discourage that and ask people to use raised beds, and as long as you get the drainage for pineapple, it will grow perfectly. We have a small plot here in the garden that we have been growing pineapple for about 8 or 9 years, and we get pretty good pineapple out of it. The birds eat it more than us, but the idea is to show that we can grow pineapple in a raised bed instead of clearing steep hillsides that eventually lead to landslide and soil erosion. But yes, we have a huge, our fruit collection is a lot of citrus, tamarinds, mangoes, avocados, you name it, cacao, coffee, coffee arabica. We have all of those in our food basket that we're gonna provide the farmers with.
I'll give a few more seconds for any last minute questions before I end this. But in the meantime, Rudy, thank you so much for this presentation. How exciting. I would love for you to take some pictures of this 10-year-old who is an inspiration. So I hope everybody who has a backyard
Yeah,
or a front lawn.
yeah, he usually keeps sending me pictures of what's going on with his garden. I remember he's sending me a cantaloupe one day looking beautiful. And the next day he sent me a picture of the cantaloupe on the ground. I think his cat uh, picked it and he wasn't too happy about that.
Was the carrot his?
No, the carrot was from another student,
Okay.
but in the same group, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for your patience, and for those that stuck around. Thank you so much, and everybody that can make it. This presentation is recorded both in English and Spanish. So if you would like to take a look at it again, it will be available. I will be sending out our YouTube link in an email in the coming days. Again, thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Rudy. Thank you so much, Judy, as well.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.